Peace, peace, peace. We are back with Knicks and Bruises. I got a special guest. I got the Queen in the building as well. You know, she's always here supporting and spreading love. Peace, Queen.
Peace. How are you?
And I
Bless
got
up.
my guy Ray. I'm good. I'm sorry. I'm excited. I got my guy Ray. I found him, I don't know, maybe about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Couldn't sleep on YouTube. Let me see what Knicks news is out or what the Knicks fans is talking about.
Mhm.
And stumbled upon Delusional Knicks fan. I'm like, oh, it's a nice name. You know what I mean? Let me click play and sat there and watched the whole video. Subscribed off the jump. Jumped in the comments. Said some kind words like this takes, and reached out to him about a week later. Asked him to come on, and here he is. Ray, salute. Appreciate you joining me. And
No.
tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Oh man, first off, it's an honor for having me on, Tony Queen, for blessing me. This is truly an honor. Like I said, I love watching YouTube. As you said, Knicks, we can't sleep. We definitely can't sleep. We're up at night, and we definitely delusional when it comes to certain takes on the Knicks. So I pretty much started probably about a month ago of starting my channel. And the overall gist of it is just pretty much just getting my thoughts out. I never thought about going live or anything, just to get the thoughts out, just to see what reactions I get. And last couple of videos been doing great. And then even when I put out that video, I saw you send out the message, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I seen you on a couple of episodes, and I'm like, yo, you reaching out to me, like, are you crazy? I'm like, oh, I gotta hit back. So it was totally an honor and a blessing for you to reach out, man. Knicks fans are amazing across the world.
No, I'm sure you've seen the love. You know what I mean? Like you said, the videos are doing real good.
Mhm.
And that's a great start to just jump out there and get that kind of response off the jump.
Absolutely.
Um, but it's an honor to you because, or honor to me, I should say, because you have a great take. You know what I mean? You're not just spewing nonsense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, it's almost an oxymoron because I didn't see much delusion or delusion in your take. So
Well, we haven't gotten there yet. There's a lot of takes. Early on in the year, so every year we get a new coach or new player. And I'm like, oh man, this could be the year. How we.
Mhm.
But the older I got, the more conscious and understanding. I'm like, all right, let me have patience. Let me wait before I jump in. Definitely.
no doubt, no doubt. All right, well, DJ Shuttle will be joining us shortly. And shout out to the chat, of course. Yo, Black is time. I'm trying to get it pulled up on YouTube just because I can't see the chat right now for some reason. I don't know if you can, Queen, but because that's how
Yeah,
I'm
I can.
determining. Okay, I may have to lean on you a little bit
Okay.
just because yeah, one, that's how I'm picking who wins the T-shirt, the John Starks autograph T-shirt,
I don't see
and
any
of
comments yet, though.
oh, okay, maybe that's what it is. I'm bugging out, but yeah, you got to comment to get in the entry for that T-shirt. But yeah, let's get it going.
Mhm.
Training camp is upon us. Okay, I see you in there, so it's definitely working. Training camp is upon us. Salute,
Here we
Jet
go.
Life for life. You got the first entry. There you go. We getting entries now. Um,
Yeah. Salute
um,
to the chat. Definitely.
yeah. Training camp is upon us.
Mhm.
There's gonna be battles, I guess, figuring out rotations.
Mhm.
We got a couple of new additions to the team.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be stuck on one of those names. I'm not even sure how to say it. Sevi. I
Mhm.
think I might just
Wait,
Suvi
is it Suvi or
Mahalik. So I was watching a lot of clips of it. And so all you heard was Suvi Mahalik. So
Suvi. Well,
I hope that's the right pronunciation.
I'm gonna
We'll
stick
go
with
with that.
Suvi. I'm not even
I
gonna
know
try
all.
the last name. Um, what was your thoughts of him? Let's start right there. Jump right into it. What was your thoughts of him? From what you've seen, obviously highlights are always the best things that you could possibly get from somebody.
So the thing with Suvi 6'7" for Ukraine. So now my delusional aspect is about to kick in.
All right.
I'm very high on systematic players that fits a certain role in systems as far as can space the floor, dribble, cut, that European basketball. It's just a lot of ball movement. He fits that role. Someone that can put the ball on the floor. He's not a James Harden, but he can cut to the basket. He has some athleticism to him, being 6'7". I think he's roughly around 205. So, I like my 6'7" forwards at least about 210, 215. So he has that aspect. His main thing is his shooting. And in the NBA, that's one thing that gets you paid is shooting.
Right.
So pretty much that's what I like about him so far. But it's the fact that he can play in a system. And for me, systematic guys win every time.
Nice. Queen, were you able to watch anything on him?
No,
I'll be
anything on him.
I'll be honest, I have not either. I figured I'll do that tonight on my late night when I can't sleep and figure some things out. But I also didn't really think he or any of these new additions really have a shot of even making the team. And then if they do, I mean, we already talked about it in length that this roster is kind of jam-packed. We trying to figure out how we're gonna get minutes for this guy and this guy who was here last year, let alone thinking about somebody coming in and getting minutes immediately.
The only thing I would say about that is, as talented as Cam is, I'm not sure how much he's entrenched on this team. So there's a possibility that he might get traded. If that's the case, does that open up, a possibility for him? I think it really depends on how he plays in training camp. So I'm saying there's I could see a slight path forward for him.
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say immediately was basically he's in a good spot in the sense that he knew it was an uphill battle coming in, right? So he's gonna give his best effort. You know what I mean? He's gonna be fighting like he wants to be on the. You know what I mean? Like nothing is guaranteed for him.
Right.
No pun intended. His contract is not fully guaranteed.
Yeah,
So so he's gonna be fighting for his NBA career in a sense, trying to make this roster make an impact, show he can do.
At a position where it's only one deep after RJ.
Absolutely. And to your credit, Ray, the only thing I did notice is they said he's a shooter and they said he plays within his role. You know what I mean? Like, so he can come in and do that and nothing more and be of value. That's one of the things we need on this team. So I agree he's in a spot where he could fight his way in, but even fighting his way in and staying on the team doesn't guarantee anything. At that point, he still has to fight his way into the rotation. And we know how hard it is to get into that rotation with Tibbs.
Yeah, no, Tibbs is he's questionable when it comes to these lineups, definitely. But my point of view, I think he possibly can either that or maybe a G League invite. Like I said, spacing the floor, shooting. Tibbs like that. Tibbs loves his European players as well. Had a couple in Chicago and Minnesota, guys getting those little roles. So he appreciate that. So it could be a G League stint for him, honestly.
Have you heard of any links from him with anybody within the organization, or maybe even playing with anybody on the current roster?
No, I don't think he's a CAA guy. So no.
I mean, yeah, I had to ask because we tend to go that route.
100%.
You know, I mean, whether it's CAA, whether it's Kentucky, whether it's just personal relationships, that's what this organization has tend to lean on for sure.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, Tibbs like to travel with his guys from, Dice being with him in Toronto and Chicago, so Tibbs bring guys that that he know he can have the final word.
Yeah, that's to be expected as a coaching staff, though. That you're going to bring in guys you're comfortable with, but an organization though limiting themselves to CAA and relationships and things like that. I mean, I'm sure they would deny that that's what they're doing, but that's what it looks like from the outside. Um, because you wonder if Cam was a CAA guy, would he get more?
Mm.
I don't know about time because he came in, in the middle of the season, but I just don't get the sense that the Knicks as an organization is committed to him. I could be way off base with that.
I hope you are.
Yeah.
um, and a little later on, we're gonna talk about, or at least I am, and I believe Ray, you're gonna have some good insight because I watched, one of your videos. I want to talk about a pathway for Cam to get into the starting lineup. If we think it's at all possible, I think there's a slim chance of it. It's not anything I think is likely, but I wouldn't mind it. And part of me, if I'm a little distracted, I got a system in figuring out who's gonna win. So I'm looking at the chat and writing some things down.
Hmm.
Just
Oh no, no problem.
so part of me. Um, who else we brought back?
Yes.
Ryan A, another guy. I'm not gonna even butcher his name.
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't practice that, but definitely.
um, I would think if anyone has the most likely chance of remaining on the roster out of the new additions, it would probably be him. Has at least familiarity with the team, or most of the team, the coaches, and everything else. I mean, what is this? His third or fourth time actually signing with the Knicks?
I
Um,
All
believe
of
I
that
believe
was in
this
one
is
season.
in one
yeah,
season. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But I mean, obviously they see something in him. Um, another thing, back to the first gentleman we spoke about. I wouldn't be surprised if this is with those non-guaranteed contracts. We've seen that in the past where they got, it's a way to get these guys a little bit of money and then bring them on to the G League team when they, it's like a legal way to pay them for their services to go play with the G League team and continue to develop. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing a little bit of that as well from this team.
yeah.
Um,
I believe this is just like you said, probably G League entry or just a training camp entry, so they could get their workouts in, and then of course test to see it, then bring them down. But I do, like I said, I do like Suvi over Ryan, and then of course Ryan. Don't forget Ryan was teammates with Jalen Brunson and Nova, so
Mhm.
they have
yeah.
that ties.
Yep.
Shout out to Josh in the chat. Josh, I don't know if I could legally include you in the running for the T-shirt
Right. Right.
because you're part of the team, but appreciate you being here. Speaking of appreciation, Mr. DJ Shuttle in the building.
All aboard.
Uh,
What's going on?
missed you last week, but I'm glad you're here today.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and,
We
and
in them streets.
hey, priorities are priorities. But I wanted to give you your flowers. You know what I mean. You was a late addition to the family, but you've been consistent. And you've been supporting, and you've been getting them panel hours up. You know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
I definitely wanted to give you your flowers and thank you for helping me on my journey to to getting that 1K subscribers. And you was motivating me. You know what I mean? You was hitting me random, yo. You right there. You need 15 more. You know what I mean? You gonna get that next show, 5 more. So
Ab-
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Salute, man. I definitely appreciate you and
See,
welcome, man.
that's what real Knicks fans do. That's what
100%.
We do.
that's what Knicks vibes is about. We gonna be here to support, encourage, and take it all the way.
And speaking of what we do, let me introduce you to the gentleman on your right. Ray just started his channel, delusional Knicks fan.
Delusional Knicks fans, I love it.
I appreciate that.
I love it.
appreciate that.
I found him like
Can't
2
wait,
weeks
can't
ago.
wait.
He's a month in,
Can't wait to see it.
and yeah, check
Much
him
love.
out,
Appreciate
subscribe. You know what I mean? Collab, all that. You know what I mean? Like you said, that's what we do as Knicks fans.
Big facts.
Um,
Congratulations, man. Great to meet you.
Nah, it's a pleasure. Definitely the honor is all mine.
so Shuttle, basically, what we talked about was the two of the new additions to the team. Oh man, Ray, help me with the
Suvi
there you go.
Mahalik is
Subi
that
Mahalik.
6'7" shooter out of Ukraine. Last played with Toronto, I believe.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
we got Ryan A. We brought Ryan A. back,
And don't forget about Daquan Jeffries as well.
and
That's right.
Daquan Jeffries. Again, I haven't even done my research on him. What can any of you tell me about Daquan? Your thoughts on him, and out of the three, do you agree Ryan is probably the most likely to actually stay on the main roster, considering he's been here before?
I think Ryan A. I mean, just given the fact that even before Brunson, the Knicks liked him and brought him in multiple times last season, and given that he played with Brunson, I believe won a championship with Brunson at Villanova. They're pretty good friends, and how the Knicks are into relationships and those sorts of things. I think he has the best chance of making the team now, whether that's because of his play or whether that's because of the relationship with Brunson. Who knows? I think he have the best chance. But I don't know because I think we can sign two. I think we can sign two of the three, I
Mhm.
believe, if I'm not mistaken. Between Jaycon Jeffries, who I want to say is more an energy player, but I can be wrong. And Suvi, we need shooting, and I wouldn't mind some energy players on this team as well. So
Yeah, I mean, the messed up thing is, even with Ryan, I think he's a little bit undersized you know what I mean? So it's like falling right into that same problem or question mark that we're already facing. Excuse me, minus Fournier not being undersized, but everybody else is kind of undersized. Um, what are your thoughts, Shuttle? Out of those three guys, who do you think is most likely to, or if you want to say two of them, most likely to make it on to the main roster?
Man, listen, the roster is kind of tight already. You trying to bring in Melo,
14th, 15th guy.
right? You trying to bring in Melo. I know you ain't give up that. Delusional Knicks fans. You heard? I know you ain't give up on that one, Tone. So you still trying to bring Melo in. You got Deuce McBride already for one of them slots, possibly. You got Hunt. I mean, it might be one or none of those guys.
I forgot about Hunt.
Yeah,
Hunt will be in training camp, right?
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Then you got the rookie.
Trevor Nils. No, everybody
You got,
forgets
you got,
about him.
you got
Right.
Niels. So, like to me, these is G League players. In the event that a trade does happen and you lose a couple of players, you got some decent guys that could potentially step in by the trade deadline.
Good point.
I mean, that's how I see. I see these guys as all G League guys personally.
Right. Or end of the bench guys, because you got to have 15, right?
Yes.
So like end of the bench guys, they're not going to be rotation guys.
No. I mean, we're not even talking about rotation. I'm just talking about even making the roster.
Making the roster.
Right.
Because I mean, I hate to put you on the spot here, but did we put any type of graph together with the players that we already got?
I did not. But Queen's
Court. I was
Queen's
just
Court
thinking about that.
is coming on. Is coming on next.
I have one.
And,
So,
it's going to be an in-depth training
but
camp.
just going off the top, you got likely Brunson, Fournier, RJ, Randall, Mitch. That's 5. Then you got likely, let's just say IQ for argument's sake, and Grimes, and Cam and Toppin and Baby Joker. That's 10. Then you got Rose is going to be 11. Hunt's going to be 12.
Sims.
Q's is going to be 13. Sims is going to be 14.
That's
So you got one or none, and I'm holding out your boy Ant. Melo's coming to the team, and that's going to be 15. And that's it.
Say McBride.
No, I didn't say McBride.
Nope.
So if Miller doesn't come, maybe McBride comes, then that's your 15. So that's it. There's no room for these guys. That's the way I saw it. When I said, yeah, I mean, you know, hey, it looks good. It looks nice. Pretty glad to have them. But these are G League guys. Nobody's on the roster, if you ask me.
Ray,
So-
what's your thoughts?
none
Yeah,
of
no, 100%. With everybody signed right now, it's an 18-man roster. Like you said, 15 you could bring along on the team, and then I believe 2 you could have as a two-way contract. So Kareem Hunt is a two-way contract, as well as Neil. So there's your two-way right there. So, like you said, these guys are just training camp invites, and hopefully they could probably get put onto the G League.
Yeah.
So
Somebody
100%.
gets
Ryan-
hurt. Somebody
Can
gets
Ryan
hurt.
beat out Deuce?
Mm.
And I only say that because of you know his familiarity. They kept bringing him back. Like I don't want to say he's got more minutes than Deuce. That's probably not accurate. But
But
they've
they-
gotten a good look at Ryan, and
We
for
got a
them
good
to
look at Deuce too.
yeah. Well, no, I know that's what I mean. Can he beat out Deuce? Considering they brought him back again.
I don't
And
think Deuce
you-
is on
you
a
would
two-way
think-
contract though. I think Deuce is signed. So just for the sake of business, I mean, it's not like this guy's gonna be a rotation guy anyway. So you know, it just wouldn't be smart business to bring him in and just get rid of Deuce. I mean, this guy had to be like lights out.
I mean,
Pretty much.
I'm not advocating it. I'm just wondering if you know what I mean, if it's possible. You know what I mean? Like
It's possible.
because they got that good look at him and continue to bring him back. You know, I get that Deuce is under contract, but I mean, it's not an expensive contract. It's not a contract that it's gonna cost them to waive him.
Nah, but
And-
your boy Brock don't be playing that with the money like that. Your boy Brock is he's fiscally responsible. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we're gonna hold Deuce, we're gonna include him in a trade, then we're gonna bring you up from the G League.
Right. And like Ron said, Deuce is signed to a regular deal now. So he's not even on a two-way.
Mhm.
Really? So who's our two-way? Hunt and
That
Keels.
kills.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we shall see. I agree though. I don't think any of these guys really have a shot. And if I had to guess, I would say Ryan. Queen, you mentioned the relationship with Brunson in the backcourt in Villanova.
Mhm.
Obviously, they've gotten continued looks at him last year and still bring him back for the opportunity. Also makes me wonder if them looking at him so long last year had anything to do with Brunson. Maybe the potential of saying, you know, maybe they could get some minutes together and bring back that old feeling from college.
I mean,
Interesting,
even if
though.
it's not bringing back the old
Pause.
feeling, I think it's just about maybe wanting him to feel more comfortable. Though I don't know how much comfortable he can get. His father is on the roster. His godfather is in the front office. He knew Tibbs. Tibbs used to babysit. I'm just kidding, but so I'm not sure how much comfortable he needs to be. So
Well, no,
mean,
I don't.
He got
I don't mean
$100 million worth of comfort.
Yeah, I
that's what I was saying. I was
didn't
thinking
mean it. I meant just bringing back. I didn't mean it as a way to entice Brunson. I thought maybe they've seen something in college and said, hey,
okay.
you know what I mean? Like these guys could do it on the NBA level. I mean, they only played 1 year together though, so
I got to go back to that. I got to go back to the videotape, Warner Wolf style, and check that out because I had to see him to even have flashbacks of them playing together. I definitely remember Brunson, but I don't really remember him.
I believe it was Brunson's freshman year. I know Ryan was a senior,
Okay.
so I would assume Brunson was a freshman or sophomore.
Well, we need shooting, so if he if he proves he can, bomb it from deep, maybe he get a chance. Because, I mean, Deuce was putting up some high numbers in the G League, but his shooting on the big team, wasn't nothing to write home about.
No, my take with Ryan is Tibbs like the prototypical point guard like Kurt Heinrich. Someone with smart, someone that can run the team. That's what Ryan can do. Ryan is not going to go out and get you 30, but he will put certain players in position to be effective. And Tibbs appreciate that. Don't forget, Derrick Rose for the most part was the two guard. They always had Heinrich or Ben Gordon was the two guard, but he always had two dual guards on the floor, one that can slash and dominate, one that can control the game. So that's what they see in Ryan, honestly.
Right, because you got to keep in mind, and we'll talk about this again more on the Queen's Court when we talk about training camp battles at the point guard. You got Brunson, you got Rose, you got IQ.
Quick, yeah.
If one of them get injured, you're down to two. You're down to whatever IQ and whoever. I see McBride as super situational, right? But if there's two injuries, right? One thing about Ryan is he's a true point guard, whereas McBride is more of a scoring point guard. And there's been, at least coming out of college, he was seen as a shooting guard and a point guard's body, right? So if you get to the point where you have to play Ryan or McBride, you're in bad shape. So you really looking for somebody who's going to be able to manage the game and get everybody involved, right? If you get to that point where either one of them are playing.
Especially considering we are assuming Rose's situational. So
don't tell Shuttle that he's situational.
I mean,
it's tough. I don't think Rose gonna be situational. Only because if you know Tibbs, like we know Tibbs, it's hard. But Rose might close out a lot of certain games when certain players don't have it going.
And it's hard to argue with that. I'm
not opposed to it.
But I'm just saying, though, it just means that I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it.
Let me say this: even if he's closing out the games, but still getting 12 minutes. Or you know what I mean? I'm fine with that.
Right.
When I said the situational thing, a while back, it was more of a preservation. I want Rose available down the stretch more than I care about his availability in the beginning of the year. Now, if we're using him to close out games and we're winning, yeah, I have no problem with that. I just don't want us using him 30 minutes, 25 minutes.
No.
You know what I mean? To the effect of we lose him down the stretch.
Right.
Like there's a lot of wear and tear on them legs from on the court and from or you know what I mean, off the court with the injuries and the surgeries and the things of that nature. So I just want to preserve him for when we need him the most.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that because look, even let's just say he's named the backup point guard for every single game. Let's just say that does happen. How many how many minutes is going to be left behind Brunson? Brunson's probably going to play 34 minutes a game at least. So it's only going to be like 14 minutes. If he plays 36 minutes, it's only going to be 12. So really backing up Brunson is actually perfect for Rose, right? Because there's only going to be limited minutes anyway. The problem becomes if he's backing up Rose, where's the minutes coming but for IQ, Grimes, and Cam? Those
biggest question
for just two spots. You know what I mean? That becomes the issue. But I think can you imagine that back? Like that's perfect. Brunson goes out for that 12 minutes. You bring in Rose. I don't think there's going to be much of a letdown, right? Knicks are going to be pretty steady. They're going to be like the point guard spot is going to be locked down, and that's been an issue of ours for years, if not a decade.
I totally agree. Which brings us to the training camp battles. I'm totally looking forward to these training camp battles.
I think we all can agree there's only 3 guaranteed solidified starters and two positions are potentially up for grabs
Mhm.
as far as the starting role.
Well, let's
And
hit him. Let's hit him
I
first, and then we
mean,
could debate.
I hate to do it because Mitch is my guy, and if I'm deciding, Mitch is starting hands down. But I think that center position is up for grabs.
Ooh.
Even
Really?
even in
I'm
even in
not
this,
even that high on Mitch, and I don't think it's up for grabs in
well,
training camp.
I well
I think it's up for grabs as well.
I
Really? Woo.
Well,
Nah.
we gonna have a take. Let's hear Tony. I'm
Wow.
gonna give you my take. I'm gonna give you my
and
take.
even when you say in training camp, I think I could agree with you. I think it's his to lose more than it's just an open audition for that position.
Right.
But as we what I mean, as we've known, and obviously I don't wish this on him, but he could get a knick-knack injury in training camp, which will cause him to have to sit out early or miss time. Like we've seen this with him. Um, so that's what I mean when I say up for grabs. Like I want Mitch another 72 games this year. But I want him healthy coming in, which he
Mhm.
wasn't last year. You know what I mean? He was laboring. So
Mhm.
when I say up for grabs, I mean that. Um, but I also think Hartenstein has a chance to earn it by the end of the year.
That I
Um,
agree with.
and and
That I agree with.
and it may not even be. It may just be a better fit. You know what I mean? He may fit better in that starting unit, and Mitch may fit better with those young guys. You know what I mean? So I, that's what I mean up for grabs.
Mhm.
But the two guard would be my other position, where I think it's not solidified.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna talk a little bit in depth towards the end of the show
Mhm.
about that. But what are you guys' thoughts? What position do you think are up for grabs, and why? I'm gonna start with Shuttle because I seen Shuttle making some faces out there. So
No,
it looked like
I'm
he got
I'm
a
I'm just
retort.
I'm just I'm just trying to take it light. You know, I'm just trying to I'm just trying to
Hey
take it
man,
light. I'm just trying to take it light. Truthfully, I don't feel like any position is up for grabs going into the start of training camp.
So who you got?
Fournier,
Yeah, I got Fournier
Mitch.
starting at the shooting guard, and I got Mitch definitely starting, and the other three are locked in. I think that uh, Grimes has the trust of the coach.
Mhm.
I think that Fournier has already, even with all the slack that all the delusional Knicks fans gave Fournier, he still shot 40%, was one of the best three-point shooters in the league. And that's with a dysfunctional team last year. So you give him a better point guard this year, he should be even more efficient, and it should be better chemistry on the floor, which should cater more to his brand of basketball. Um, and I think, Grimes, while that's one of my guys and shows promise, I think that, it's better to let him come off the bench. I don't expect a great season for the team. And if Evan plays well, he could very well play himself into a trade deadline deal, and Grimes slides into the starting role unless they get a better player in the deal for Evan. I also don't think any way Hardestein is coming in to start. No way possible.
Wow.
But I do think he will likely, injury or not, likely. I think he's the one, even maybe more likely than Grimes, to play as many minutes as the starter
Right.
will at the same position. So I think the center position is a classic case of it doesn't matter who starts; they're going to get about the same minutes, and depending on what the matchups are at the end of games, and who you're playing against, they may need more of Mitch's defense. We may need more of Hardestein's offense, depending on what's happening. But listen, I gave him the name Baby Joker, and I'm very high on this guy. And yeah, I if he end up starting by the end of the season or playing more minutes, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. But going into starting into training camp, I don't really expect it to actually be a battle. So I got status quo at the starting five.
Right.
Right?
All right, we're gonna jump in. This is like I said, where the delusional
Delusional.
aspect come in. All right, so obviously we all have Brunson at the point. To counter the Brunson at the point, you have to put in Quentin Grimes. The reason why I say that is like what we all saying is the whole defensive aspect of having Grimes. Grimes can switch 1, 2, and 3. Fournier, we really couldn't do that. Fournier was that weakest link at that aspect, yet he did shoot 40%. But that 14 points and all of that really came from just like high pick and roll with Julius or corner slot threes. You know, with Quentin Grimes, he gave it to you from every side of the floor. So it's not like he's two-dimensional. He can pretty much give you anything you need from that aspect. Small forward, then of course you got RJ. At the power forward, I would love to say that there's a battle for Opie, only because Opie he can move without the ball. He can give you easy buckets. Julius is the focal point, but obviously he's the start. He's the start, Ron. He's going to start. All right. Randall is starting, everyone. Randall is starting.
You were starting to sound a little delusional there for a minute.
Yeah. Well,
you started to sound a little delusional for a minute.
No, once the
all
trade,
pun intended. All pun intended.
Once the trade happened, then we talk about Opie. But at the 5, I'm going with Hartenstein for a huge reason and it's Tibbs. Look at all the centers that Tibbs had or big that he had. Tibbs is a triangle guy. Like I said earlier, I'm very huge on systematic systems. Hartenstein, you can have him at the free throw line, at the high post, where you have slashers, and he can just pop that ball cutting through, right? Or you lag off on the cutters, he could turn around for a free throw, right? So, and then of course, Jalen Brunson. What was the offense that they ran at Dallas? Pretty much 1-4 out. You need a stretch big for what? Brunson like the post up. Don't forget, Brunson is. Here's the delusional aspect is baby Chris Paul because he's perimeter. I'm going to give you perimeter jump shots. I'm going to give you posts, but a good 80% of my offense is at the free throw and extended. So that would work. Not to say it can happen, but that's where the challenge aspect of where Hartenstein would make sense. Because we get videos of Mitch shooting his lackadaisical free throws and, no jump hooks or, no post-up moves, but Mitch will be better. 17 mil better, it's questionable, but he'll be better. But Hartenstein just have more attributes right now for the starter lineup that we want to put out with Brunson. For me, it's Quentin, RJ, and then you have Julius. Hartenstein just fit that role.
I got to say, I love that lineup. I've been imagining that lineup since the free agent acquisitions. I think we'll see that lineup to close out games. I just don't really I can't see them giving Mitch that contract and then saying, all right, listen, you're gonna come off the bench to start the season. Like he has to at least earn the bench after that contract. You can't earn the bench before the season even starts.
Right. Well, then reports came in that Ian Bagley stated that, everything is open. He's coming in with a clean slate. So all the spots, I can't say all the spots are open, but he's giving guys opportunities to win this role. Tony, you mind if I throw in what my lineup needs to be?
Absolutely. I just want to piggyback off of what you said because you're talking and I'm envisioning what Hartenstein can do for Randall as well. And that becomes a dangerous aspect. I mean, Randall's a mismatch regardless, right? A mismatch problem regardless.
Yep.
But if you have a 5 who he don't even really have to stretch it necessarily, but he can operate outside the paint and open the floor up.
Right.
And not be a klutz with the ball.
Right.
Man,
that changes everything.
He changes everything. Very similar to how Brunson changes everything.
Yeah.
So I don't think it happens immediately, but I think to you guys' credit as well. Closing out games, we talking about free throw shooting. We talk about liabilities. I think Mitchell Robinson ends up being like you said, Shuttle, a defensive substitution down the stretch more than closing out games. Unless he added something that we have yet to see.
Who's this?
Mitch. Unless Mitch has added something that we have yet to see, I think he's a defensive substitution down the stretch as
Yeah,
opposed to
closing out games.
closing them out.
And I see Hardestein. I seen Baby Joker as the first guy off the bench. I mean, between Mitch's fouls and you know, if you're getting off to a slow pace on offense, all right, listen, Baby Joker, get him in there, and let's get some more flow on the offense. And I mean, not only Mitch, but I think like he helps RJ too, because the RJ Randall dynamic is so like cumbersome. Having a party like Mitch added to them makes it even more. Correct. It makes it more of a cluster. Mm-hmm. So having a third big on the front court that can go in the corner, go top of the key, can
make the right pass,
handle the ball better on the pick and rolls. Mitch is not even good with the dribble handoff. So, you know, I think
he don't even set solid screens either.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
okay, gotta finish.
Yeah, and I just think it'll be helpful for the whole offense, but I just think it'll be off the bench.
Listen, if we can start that lineup with Grimes and Hartenstein, that would be great, because to the point that was already made, Randall and Randall and RJ, their game is 3-point line in, and for Randall sometimes even free throw line, and for RJ too. He takes 64% of his shots below the free throw line. You know, I mean, that is a lot. But if you got Brunson, Grimes, and Hartenstein, that kind of evens it out.
Yep.
Even Fournier evens it out. But Mitch down there, that just makes it really, really clunky for both of them. You know,
can't wait to see that lineup.
Yeah, I think it's a lineup that they'll play. I'm not sure they're gonna start Hartenstein though.
And I love Grimes, I can't wait to see him starting unless we have an upgrade at that position. But I don't see him starting at the start of the season. It's just right. Tibbs loves him, but I mean, he loves guys that have proven it also. And Fournier proved it last year, as far as I'm concerned. Plus, you got to keep his trade value up too, because you know you're trying to trade him.
So, question, Ron. Summer League, Quentin Grimes didn't showcase what he can bring, as far as potentially bringing that rawness, and also can knock Fournier down.
Listen. If you ask the panel, I've been the Grimes advocate.
Okay, cool.
So you're talking to the Grimes advocacy committee. But I will say that, you know, he showed in the G League, or the Summer League rather, that, you know, he can put the assertiveness in place, but it's not like he blew the doors off with shooting percentage. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like he had the game-winning shots. You know, it's not like he, you know, not like he did too much that it's like, whoa, he got to start. Like, he showed you something that we didn't see last year, a little bit more aggressiveness and going to the basket. And, you know, I of course they challenged him on that, and they told him, listen, get to the basket, be assertive, you know, be 23 out there, and you know, and he did, you know, he did put that in motion. But at the same time, he's not going to really be that guy on the starting lineup. He's going to be more of a catch and shoot, lockdown defender guy. So I'm not even really worried about too much what he did in Summer League. I'm happy that he showed the assertiveness, but I already seen enough of Grimes personally, you know. So I don't really have any doubts, and you know, I just think that his shooting is not better than Evans, and with Fournier's shooting, I mean, like he shot well enough to earn to be in that lineup. And when you include guys like RJ and Randall, who are not shooters, and Brunson, who's not typically really an A1 3-point shooter himself, not that he can't shoot it, but he's not like a knockdown 3-point shooter. Evan is by far the best 3-point shooter on the team. So, you know,
100%.
so it's hard for me to just put him on the bench, but I definitely see them 24, 24, 26,
Right.
22,
Correct.
28, 20. You know, I see Grimes getting at least 20 minutes a game. So he's gonna get more than enough burn to prove his value. And I can see half the games of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if he closes out. So, you know, I'm not really too troubled if he starts or not, which is why I don't think the team is gonna sweat him starting and putting him in the starting lineup. They're gonna let him start. If he's hot, they're gonna keep him in. If he's fouling, if he's not shooting well, his man's getting by him on defense. All right, hey Grimes, get in there. And you know, 5-6 minutes into the game, you might see him quick running out there.
And closing too. So 2 points. One, I agree. They're going to split minutes. 24, 24, 26, 20, 22. They're going to split minutes. That 2 position and the 5 position is where I could see a somewhat of a minute split. But the other point is he scored more points because he got the ball more. Right? The more he scored, the more shots he put up, the less efficient he was. And that just goes to show a lot of times when we see guys in limited minutes shooting very efficiently, we just automatically think that if they get more minutes, it's going to multiply and it's going to be the same. And it can be. But for some players with more playing time, with more shooting volume, their efficiency goes down and they don't play as well. What I
Sometimes
like,
you're asking them to do too much.
you're asking them to do too much. Let them shine in a role, and there's no way to tell. You give them a bigger role, they may continue to shine, they may not. But what I like about Grimes, even though he was inefficient, going back to the 3-and-D role, he's going to be just fine. And I think, you know, if he needs to, what I would like to see now, because I think he's going to be a good 3-point shooter, maybe even just as good as Evan. But what I'm encouraged about from Summer League is that if you run him off that 3-point line, I'm confident now from what I've seen that he can put the ball on the floor for a few dribbles, pull up for the mid-range, and if they rotate to him, be able to hit the open guy. And that's the evolution. I mean, I think it's something he's probably already been able to do, but that'll be the evolution of his role in this offense. Instead of when they close out, you passing it back. No, now you're going to dribble in, either take your shot or create offense for someone else.
And I'm gonna start with Love and say Grimes' role moving forward in comparison to what his role was on this summer league team, where he was probably the guy on the bulletin board for the opposing team's coach, is not going to be the case. So now he's going to be underlooked and or overlooked, and that's where I think he can thrive a little bit more as opposed to being the guy that they focused on. But I said start with Love because I feel like Quickly's growth and what he's shown from year 1 to year 2, especially coming into that year 2 summer league where, you know, he got that the same type of thing. Like, all right, this is what we want you to do. This is what I think he showed a lot more in that short period of time than Grimes has. To Grimes's credit, he did all the right things, but as you pointed out, Shuttle, inefficiently. Now, maybe here's the thing: we saw inefficiency from Quickly already, so for when that continued, or when he showed even a little bit of improvement in it, it wasn't that bad as opposed to Grimes started out showing us efficiency. Like that was like it was like, oh, this he might shoot 6 threes and hit, you know, 3, 2. Yeah, you know what I mean? But it was the efficiency. So I don't know. I just feel like Quickly showed more in that 1 year growth than Grimes did. He still got to prove it to me. You know what I mean? Like it's still kind of small window. I'm not down on him. I feel like he need more time. I think people are kind of like pushing him into the forefront a little bit too early. But I agree with you, Shuttle. I think he's not gonna start per se, but it'll be more of a minute split. I want to get to this super chat. Josh is getting at me here. Tony, you jumped on my neck about Mitch extension. Now he got paid 15 million per, and you think the Knicks are considering benching him for Hartenstein at 60 million center coming off the bench with no offensive game. Come on, son. Well, here's the thing. We didn't have Hartenstein when I was singing Mitch's praises. And I'm not down on Mitch. I'm just saying the new guy and his skill set might fit better in the starting unit. Not devaluing Mitch at all. I still think he's worth it. I said 14 million. They gave him 15. I'm not mad at that. But it's about the team and it's about winning. So if he's better suited off the bench and can be more productive there, you know what I mean? I have no problem with it. And he's still my guy. I kind of felt like it became a Mitch Basson session for a minute. You know what I mean? My stomach was curling. Like I don't like to hear bad things about Mitch or say them, but I try to be a realistic Knicks fan. No shot delusional.
Oh, of course. Trust me. That's why the name, man. It rings. It rings. We all are delusional.
And real quick, I want to just give. I got a top 10 finalists right here of who's in the winnings for this T-shirt, and at the end of the show, I'll either cut it down to 5. Matter of fact, no, I'm gonna pick the winner tonight. So, here's the 10 finalists. Make sure that's 10 real quick. I'm sorry.
Oh, man, you gotta get the drum roll. Anticipation, guys.
Now, and before you announce the final 10, let me just, if you don't mind, because I think I missed it. What is it that one had to do to to be one of the finalists or to be in the running?
Well, one, I'm assuming everybody that's made this list has subscribed, and you're not just popping up trying to win, because I had to get to my 1,000 subscribers. I was doing the giveaway once that happened. And then tonight, just show up tonight. Be in the comments. As long as you're in the comments, you had a chance.
Okay.
And that's why I've been a little distracted. I've been figuring out my own random formula of who was gonna get on the list. And now I got the 10. And by the end of the show, I'm gonna throw these names in a little scrambler in my phone, and whoever gets popped up, that'll be the winner. So we got Wonder Woman, Jet Life for Life, Canal Band Lawyer, JJ, Ala Wise, Angel Torres, Bo Ishmael, Victor Thompson, Michael Magic, O-Head. So those 10 are the finalists. And right before we end, I'm gonna throw it in the scrambler, pick the winner. And then you guys gotta just reach out to me on Twitter. Hashtag Yo Black is Time. You'll find me. DM me, and we'll figure out how to claim your prize. Whether I mail it to you, if you go into one of these Knicks events that we're doing, you could get it in person. If not, I'll mail it. So autograph John Starks T-shirt. I'll announce the winner in about 20 minutes.
All right.
Sounds good.
Moving on. You did you get your takeout right? That you I know I said give me a second. And
oh yeah, I was talking about the lineup that I would want to have, which we all know would not happen. But it's definitely Jalen Brunson, RJ at the 2, Cam at the 3, then of course Julius, and then we got Mitch
Well,
That's
that happened to
what
be.
happened
that's what
over
I
your
want.
other one? Over the
That's what I want to happen. But the
that's a
scenario
traffic
is
jam on the Van Wick right there.
so
Yeah.
not me.
Or the
Obviously,
BQE.
Or the BQE. Or the
So wait,
Bronx.
who'd you say at the
Cross
5?
Bronx. We don't want
so
no
I'm
parts of
I'm
that.
staying with Mitch at the 5.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
staying with Mitch at the 5.
Well, believe it
So
or not, that's a perfect segue because that was my path to Cam starting.
Okay.
That's the only way I see it actually happening. But I'm gonna let you continue, and then maybe you don't touch on something that I was thinking.
of
But right
course.
now, you just it's like you was in my notes.
Come on, we here, Tony. That's why we meshing right now. The reason why I say that, of course, Tibbs is not the head coach if we're putting forth this lineup. For me, I've been stated before, I'm a huge advocate on the ball movement and the team aspect. So, one of my videos I brought up the last couple of championships. You know, all these coaches came from the Coach Pop tree, and we all know Coach Pop is ball movement. And then we even have the WNBA championship, the Ace. They won with Becky Hammond. She's under the Coach Pop tree. So I would rather go that route to kind of run this. And something similar, how we can run it is how Boston. I see Boston and that lineup that I added is pretty much how we can run with that Knicks lineup, with Cam and RJ being the Jaylen Brown and the Jason Tatum of that aspect. Then you got Williams, who can also be Mitch as just blocks and defense with RJ. We're going back to the Randall being old Randall and shooting over 41% from the 3-point line, who could be that Horford who can also put the ball down.
Wait a minute. You said the old Randall or the 1 year Randall?
Well, the 1 year Randall, yes. The 1 year Randall. 100%.
I mean, but he's got 6 years at like 31%, 32%,
Yes.
and you got 1 year at 41%. But I'm supposed to be going with the 141%. But please continue. I'm sorry.
But
Wait.
no,
Let me interject as well because I am one that is on record to saying that I believe Randall can become close to that again. Like let's not act like the years prior he wasn't continuously on a upwards trajectory year after year, getting better, showing. So
He went from
3-point though. I don't
went
know
from-
if he'll ever be that again.
he
But
went
the
from
rest of his
26.
yes.
He went from 26 and 28 to 32.
look, all I need is at least 35 to 37 from
37.
Randall,
There
and
you
I'm
go.
fine.
And that's it.
And that's
Yo,
fine.
we here. Continue, my brother.
But yeah, so like I said, Boston, their coach, remember Boston when they first started, they wasn't playing how the coach wanted to play until after Christmas, ball movement. We have a similar roster to that, which is coaching is the main situation is coaching. RJ and like you said, RJ and Cam can slash. They can put the ball on the floor. They can shoot occasionally jump shots. So they could be the main focal point. Regardless of the money, Randall don't have to be that focal point. Randall could be that guy that can stretch the ball, occasionally put it down. During the course, you could interchange with bringing Quick in. Quick off the bench is phenomenal. You know, Quick, like you said, last year, Quick, after the Christmas break and stuff, was averaging like 14, 5, and 4, I believe. He needs to get the ball more, but you know, Tibbs only see him as a spark plug. He doesn't see him as a general. So, but yeah, that's my starting 5.
The only pushback I have to that is I don't think Tibbs is holding back a group like that. I think that group is just not as talented as Boston group. So you could talk about how you got a RJ and a Cam that's similar to a Jaylen Brown and a Tatum, but neither one of those guys are on that level.
Kind of disrespectful.
When you talk about hold on, Pop winning and Becky Hammond winning, keep in mind they won. They had talent. A lot of, and I'm not saying the coach doesn't.
Oh no, coaching plays a big role.
Listen, I coached. I understand that. You got to put your players in a position to win, and you definitely don't want to put them in a position where they have to work harder and you're not taking advantage of their talent. But you got to have the talent to begin with. And you look at the aces with Plum and Asia Williams and I forget the MVP. Those ladies was playing lights out. Same thing with Pop. Pop had Tim Duncan,
The Admiral,
the Admiral,
Tony
all of those
Parker,
guys.
Ginobili.
People talk about Kerr as well. What happened when Klay Thompson went down and Curry went down? They went right to the lottery. You gotta have the players that can play at that level. And this is one thing I'll say about Kerr, because we haven't seen it yet, where you don't have a good team and you outplay expectations. Because I've seen that with Pop.
But
You
we've seen
understand?
that with Tibbs.
And we've seen it with Tibbs. I haven't seen that with Kerr. When those guys went out, they went to the lottery.
And I'm glad you said that. And I'm just going to just say, like, Tibbs overachieved year one, and all of this slander still from delusional Knicks fans. Yo, how are you slandering this coach who took a team had no business being in the playoffs, let alone a 4 seed, and took them there? And yo, has a team last year that they were under 500, but yo, they were competing in so many games. You know, they were in the lead in some games that maybe they could have won. Maybe he had something to do with some of those losses. Yeah, but everybody's talking about play the kids, play the kids. But yo, this guy's trying to win games, which I really want to do.
All right, so I don't
You don't
slander
have to see them
Coach
together.
Tibbs.
I'm
Tibbs is my guy. I vouch for Tibbs, but Tibbs for me is an assistant coach for me at best, and that's when he pretty much did it in Boston, and won that chip, as well as when he was in Houston, where they took off. I don't know if y'all know, but Tibbs is he's a coach, but he got his niche from his play development. A lot of people know about that. Him working with Yao, and Yao took his scoring game up. Him working with Jimmy, so I appreciate Tibbs 100%. That's my guy. But so we're gonna go back to the coaching aspect. Remember when the Knicks, when we had Derrick Rose, when we had KP, when we had Melo, and we had all those guys. You don't think a different coach could have had that team as a playoff team?
Maybe not. You know, if you would have, maybe not. And just to push back on the Tibbs thing, Tibbs' record as a head coach is over 500, and he's in the top 50 out of 300 coaches who've coached the game in the NBA. So I got to push back on he's an assistant coach. He's a head coach. If you want to say that the NBA is evolving and he's not keeping up, like if you want to say those sorts of things, I don't know how much I want to argue with that. But he's a head coach. He's in the top 50 in wins.
No, Tibbs is a head coach. That's what I said. I wanted to declare that he's a head coach. I'm saying for all his success and everything that came with Tibbs and getting his niche for me was always the assistant aspect for him. I love him as our head coach, 100%. But I think with the roster that we have and the team that we have, Tibbs, somebody can squeeze more.
Let me jump in. I disagree. I agree with the starting five. I would like to see that as well.
Phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal.
Not even if it doesn't start that way. Even if we just see it in pinches and then it evolves to it. But the reason I like it and the reason I think it can work with Tibbs is I think that changes the whole. It works defensively, at least in my brain. I feel like who would you rather have guarding Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Kawhi Leonard, you know what I mean? Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett. To me personally, I'd rather put Cam in that position. Then now RJ's guarding the two guards. RJ's defense improved. They got better. The problem is these small forwards were shooting over him. You know what I mean? He was there with him. He was hand right in the face, all that. I think he gains that advantage back playing defense against these twos. He's going to have to chase a couple of guys around. Right. Not that many. But, it's going to be certain guys that he's going to have to chase around and exert some energy. But I'd rather him exerting the energy chasing somebody than trying to stop Durant, who ultimately is going to shoot over him. Stop Tatum, who's ultimately going to shoot over him. So I think defensively, those two guys changes what we do as a team because now we have solid guys everywhere. You know what I mean? At the two, at the three, at the five with Mitch. Randall, engage Randall at the four. Um, I think we could be back to top five, top four defense in the league with that particular lineup. And that's my argument for Cam and for Cam to even get into that realm. He's gonna have to sacrifice offensively. He's gonna have to make defense his staple.
Mhm.
I'm gonna prove my worth on the defensive end. Coach,
Oh yeah.
put me against the top guy. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna have to have that mentality, and then let his offensive game play. Figure to like come organically. Don't force it. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Podfather Sim.
I had to put some comment up.
Of course, appreciate you. But yeah, so that's my argument. As far as why I would like to see that starting lineup, or let me rephrase it. That would be the only path I think for Cam to make it into the starting lineup. But we didn't talk about the bench if that is the case, because
Right.
now I think we still got to figure out what's going on with Rose and
It'll be a
Quickly,
3-guard lineup
regardless.
behind
Yes,
that, right? Yeah.
I mean, it kind of has to be.
Mhm.
That and that's where it becomes an issue because if Rose is in the fold, obviously he's starting. Now it comes between Quickly and Grimes. Who's manning that backup two spot? Because I think, excuse me, at this point, Fournier still wins out
Oh, I forgot about Fournier. Right.
at the
Right.
three.
Right. I forgot about. I was
Yeah,
like, it'll be both of them. Put one over. I forgot about Fournier.
I
Right. Right.
think Fournier wins out at the three just because he has the height. Um, Now he's playing against backups, so the defensive liability issue is not the same. Um, so I think it ends up becoming between Quickly and Grimes, who plays that two guard, that backup two position, unless you know Rose is used as needed, break glass in case of emergency. So that's my only issue with it panning out that way. And either one of you two can piggyback because I know, like I said, me and Ray kind of agreed for the most part.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree to disagree. I'm gonna have to agree to disagree pretty strongly on this one because if you think the shooting is bad with Fournier starting, you're gonna put Cam in your starting lineup? No. I just gonna just say I was Team Cam coming out. I thought he had more potential than RJ Barrett. So this is not a Cam hater for the record. Uh, I just haven't seen enough from Cam for me to dare put him in my starting lineup. Like he'd have to come to training camp and he'd have to be like, yo, who's this? Who's the new guy? Like he'd have to really just like really be putting it on terrible, in camp for this to even be a conversation at all. And that's including shooting. RJ would have to be shooting well. Randall would have to be shooting well because it's not Cam on his own. It's how the fit is going to be with the rest of the team. RJ is a little bit like robotic and not fluid enough for me to feel confident with him being at the two. His ball handling is not strong enough to me to be at the two. His shooting is not strong enough to be at the two. And then when you talk about the person at the three that you're adding, and you're not even adding a lights out shooter. Like if you were adding Kevin Durant as your three and you're moving RJ to the two, it's like, all right, cool. The guy at the three can dribble the ball, he can pass, and he's lights out from three. Adding RJ at the two, when you're putting that type of person at the three, I feel like makes me more accepting to RJ at the two. But Cam, love Cam, but he got a lot to prove. You talk about Grimes got something to prove before you got confidence. Cam got more to prove than Grimes.
Let me tell you why I think the biggest adjustment for Cam would be actually taking a step back offensively. And I say that to say this. I think he can shoot 40%, 37% from three if He's a spot
Cam
up
Reddish.
shooter, a catch and shoot guy. If he's playing the same role that Grimes was playing,
Mhm.
I think his shooting percentage increases. Similar to what we've seen with Grimes trying to expand his game. Cam didn't have to try to expand his game. He was trying to use every tool in his toolbox at every point. If he
Okay.
dials it down and focuses in, like I said, defense being the staple, and then focusing on hitting open shots, focus on shooting good shots, I think his percentage skyrockets.
So
I think he
basically 3 and D.
3 and D, 3 and D with the ability to do more, but not seeking it. You know what I mean?
I get
Letting it.
that, but I don't think he would want that role. Already,
Mm.
he's talking about that he
Hey,
feels like he can be a star. He feels like he's at his best when he's on the ball in the offense. I don't know if he said the offense is running through him, but where he's, he has the ball in his hands.
Go get a bucket.
Will he
I like him.
D role?
I like him
listen.
I like him as the sixth man. To me, that mentality is listen, it's not a lot of minutes after RJ. Maybe you come in at the 2. Maybe you come in at the 4. Who knows if Randall and Toppin who's hurt, who's having a bad game, whatever. Who knows? But I look at him as the guy in the from the bench that is the one that you need buckets. He's the one that you should put in to get buckets.
I agree with you, and I agree with you, Queen. He has to want to do that. He's gonna have to accept that for this to even work. Will he accept it? I don't know, but it's also a matter of trying to stay in the league and trying to figure out your niche. I think a lot of guys at some point felt like or feel like they're a star, but sometimes you have to change your perspective to stay in the league because you don't get
Humble
the
pie.
opportunity to be a star. You know what I mean? Like everybody was a star at some point, high school. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to learn it going into college, and that's another reason why I think he can do it because he took a back seat in college, whether it was intentional, whether it was to his fault, whether it was even detrimental. Some people say, but he could. I think he can accept the role. The question is, will he?
Oh.
But to JJ's point, shout out to JJ, always rocking with us. Is Cam even that type of shooter? When we talk about 3 and D, is he that type of knockdown 3-point shooter when you talk about 3 and D?
So with Cam in college,
37, right?
a lot of his shooting were off of catch and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty much what they saw him as, a catch and shooter. He rarely took it off the dribble because you had RJ. Remember, that was, we say it was Zion team, but that was RJ's team. And then of course they had a system. So with the Knicks, he definitely can. We're not saying once again shoot the lights out where you're Steph Curry, shooting 45 and under. With Cam, and like Tony said, it's that defense that's going to hold us down. When we dominated under Tibbs, that lineup was the best defense pretty much out there. We didn't have offense like that, so that tells you we can dominate on that defensive end, shut down your best player, while occasionally having Julius or RJ give you 20 each. Brunson can throw in 18 and 8, and we win in games. So it don't necessarily have to be the high volume shooting coming from that. It's like you said, it's just defense from us and coach. I know you said defense wins championship. So
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they go with it, go with it. I just don't see Cam as a lockdown defender, and I don't see him as a great 3-point shooter. But what I do like about him is I think he's in the 90th percentile, if I'm not mistaken, in steal rate. He's very active in the passing lanes. He has the length. I worry about our offense a little bit, but if he's in that starting lineup, what that tells me is that he went bananas in training. Bananas in training camp.
Yeah. And mind you, this is all talk. This is all far-fetched. We all know what the lineup is going to be. and we're gonna love it. But just seeing that from a defensive standpoint alone, I believe it could be something magical. Because we're a small team, like otherwise. Julius is 6'8". We don't see
Yeah,
Julius is
we are small.
6'8".
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
and Tibbs loves to shrink the floor, love to ice the pick and roll. So and Cam 7-foot wingspan that plays a big role, but it won't happen.
All right. It's time for the winner. I got the first winner. I'm gonna say 24 hours to accept the prize, and then I have a backup. So after 24 hours, if if the winner doesn't come out, I got a backup, and then I also have a third place, and that'll be in 3 days if I can't get to the first two. So the winner, the actual winner, is Bo Ishmael. Bo Ishmael.
Oh, congrats!
Ishmael, you got one thing right
Oh,
today. We
oh.
going back and forth in chat with
Yeah,
you.
I see Bo in the chat.
One thing
Congrats!
right today.
Just go to Twitter hashtag Yo Blackest Time. It'll bring you right to me. Right to me. It looks like he gonna get it. So
He already-
He already on it.
but I'm gonna give my backup. If he don't figure out how to use Twitter, I guess
Dang.
it's gonna be. Hey, I barely use Twitter, so you can blame me. But nah, I got you. Wonder Woman will be second place. I don't know if you're still here. You was here earlier. But Wonder Woman, Yo Blackest Time on Twitter, and number 3 was my guy too, a la Wise. The prize is an autographed John Starks T-shirt, Craig.
Oh,
Yeah, that's legit right there.
Oh, you said what's the price? There's no price. It's
prize.
a
What's the
giveaway.
prize? What's the prize? That's a typo. I hope. I
Okay.
hope.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for joining. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Anybody who has not subscribed to Dope Soul Sports Talk, please go subscribe to Dope Soul Sports Talk.
Queen,
That's
you hit
Queen's
1,000
channel.
yet? Queen, you hit 1,000 yet?
803.
She right
803,
there.
803. We need 1,000. We need 1,000 by the end of the week.
There's 100 people here right now, so you know what I mean. If you're not subscribed, jump right over there.
We need 1,000 by the end of this week. All you gotta do is tell one person. If you subscribe, you tell one person, and everybody in the chat do that. We can get the Queen to 1,000 subscribers.
Tonight.
She needs that. She deserves that. It's the
Definitely
least
deserve
we
it.
can do.
That's a fact. And then
I appreciate it. Can I just shout out my
absolutely.
when the season starts, and actually starting with the pregame, excuse my dog in the back, with the pregame, with the preseason games, I'll be doing a morning post-game show. So I said 7. Somebody said, I think that was Greg said, that's kind of early. So I'm gonna go at 8. And it'll probably just be 45 minutes. I think I'm gonna go live, and on days when I can't go live because I'm out of state or I'm out of the country, I'll drop a video. But I'll be going live the next morning after the Knicks play for a post game wrap up.
Dope.
There we go.
Also, if you have not subscribed to my guy, Delusional Knicks Fan, just started. I'm sure you enjoyed his takes today, but the guy has great takes, man. I found him a week ago. Watched the first video. I believe it was live or premiered. You know what I mean? I watched that, but then I went and looked at the back catalog. I'm like, oh, he just started and he giving it up like this.
I'm a newbie.
You know what I mean?
Still got Simbalak.
But hey, you a seasoned newbie. You know what I mean? Like so salute to you for sure. tell them, you know, where to go. I mean, I just told them, but you tell them.
Oh yeah, Delusional Knicks Fan Network. Definitely please subscribe. Let's get Queen to 1,000 first, and then y'all could definitely come on over to the Delusional Knicks Fan Network and definitely get me there as well.
Yes. I'm looking forward to you coming back. I'm looking
Oh,
forward to
100%.
doing some more content. I'm gonna talk to you in a few minutes. And
Oh,
yeah,
I
man,
gotta go.
appreciate
I'm
you
sorry.
joining. I'll be right there,
All
Queen.
right, all right.
Shuttle, when's the channel dropping?
October 11th.
October 11th.
But I gotta tell you, and for full disclosure and complete transparency, I've been speaking to one of my branding marketing guys, and he loves the idea, and he wants me to pre-tape it. So I'm taking a couple of days to sleep on it to decide if I'm going to do that.
Hey, content is content, brother.
Yeah,
And
you know
what
what it is though.
you know,
It's more effort, more work, and more time to pre-record it, edit it.
that's
It's
true.
the best route, though. It's the
That's
best
true.
route.
But you know, for the returns that he could potentially give me if I do it that way, he's got me considered. So yeah, I'm taking a couple of days to sleep on it.
Well, look out for the channel.
Knicks vibes only.
All aboard, DJ Shuttle.
Oh, I like that.
Appreciate
That's
you.
smooth.
Yeah, we out of here, guys. Appreciate you guys for joining me. Bo, I'm gonna look out for you on Twitter. We'll figure out how to get you that shirt. And there's more giveaways coming. I think I'm gonna do one every 100 subscribers. So when I get to 1,100, another giveaway. They're not gonna be all autographed shirts. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be some smaller ones, some bigger ones. But you know what I mean? It's gonna be a thank you every 100. So
Word,
thank you once
salute.
again. Yo, Black, it's time.